All right, I'm about to eat some rice and some crackers and drink some water. Well, I'm waiting for the water to get cold. I'm gonna start working on my health, but I want to thank my subscriber. Um, I don't want nobody attacking people that follow me, but you see him in my comment section sometimes. He gave me a great idea to just start talking about my 20s because I'm having some nostalgia after from a time that I didn't really care for too much. I didn't really care too much for 2015. It wasn't my favorite year, but I have some nostalgia because that time meant something. If I have nostalgia, but something I want to throw in before I take out this trash. I remember the day that Dylan Roof. If you don't know who he is, I'll just tell you really quickly. He was a 21-year-old dropout from Charleston, South Carolina. He intended on shooting up a. I watched a whole FBI interrogation video. He wanted to shoot up a college, but he settled for a black church, an AME black church, that he visited it before he found out it was Bible study there, and he killed 9 people at this church. And I was at the gym when I got this alert. Either it was the TV, right? So they had a TV at this gym at the Y that was downstairs. I think CNN was on because at this gym, certain gyms you go to, depending on the demographics, they'll either play because gyms are privately owned, but you understand that anyone can join a gym for the most part. If it's a more suburban area that's closer to the city, 9 times out of 10 they're going to play CNN or MSNBC. If it's a more conservative area that's not in the city, they're going to play Fox News. So CNN was saying, because I wasn't on my phone as much, and I had data. I had data on my phone. I think I had at the time like I didn't have data like I do now. I had like a limit of amount of internet I could use on my phone at the time. But they were like, they put an APB out in All Points Bulletin for some white dude that shot up 9 black people at a church. And when that happened, I was just like, okay, I still think the same way I do now. At when I was 20, I thought the same way, like when it related to race, that I do now. But I was telling myself, okay, he did something wrong, but why are we? I would use that cliche of, okay, he killed 9 people, but people kill each other every day in Philadelphia, Chicago, Detroit, etc. Like, why don't we put that amount of energy into black on black violence? I actually said that through a comment section, and this is when I didn't have any videos. I just had my picture up. They said you're a white man pretending to be black. Obviously, I would always get the whole, or if they saw that I had videos, if I said something relating like in that same way, they'd be like, "Oh, you're an Uncle Tom, whatever." But I was just thinking to myself, this it happened. So they wound up arresting him, and he was found guilty. He didn't plead out. He was found guilty because it was a federal and a state charge. He was charged with a hate crime, and he was charged federally because he's in federal prison as we speak. He's awaiting execution. His execution won't take place until like another 20, 30 years from now. But I'm just bringing up Dylan Roof because I want you to understand that all of like the media, especially in 2015, what they do is they find stories that can fit their narrative. Things happen to people all the time. But if the media is trying to promote a narrative, because Donald Trump's name was not really popping like that, like mid 2015. It was really 2016, the end of 2015, a little bit. We heard about him because really the big talks of 2015, Bill Cosby going to prison, like getting charged with rape. Um, I thought Ben Carson was going to run for president, but the whole Dylan Roof situation. I want you to look this up. Look up Black Man Burns Church, St. Louis, 2000. I think it was 2015 as well. Yeah, it was literally a few months after Dylan Roof. He shot 9 black people when he was found guilty and got sentenced to death. A black man in St. Louis burned about 3 churches. He purchased gas and just burnt churches. For what reason? I don't know. I really believe he was at that point in life where he just didn't care anymore, and he felt like he was out of luck. Like, you know, he had a record stemming back from like 1998, but he himself was inspired by Dylan Roof. The fact that he burnt churches for no reason, and the whole time everybody is looking for some white guy, and you have a black man that did it, and it's like, and people just stopped caring after the fact. Like, people talked about it. They were saying, "Oh, we got a terrorist. We got people trying to burn our churches." Next thing you know, they're going to be putting they're going to be trying to burn down our government housing. And it's like, you care more when another race does it, but he burned about 3 churches. And it's another case I want you to read about where it was in Richmond, California. 2 people shot some people inside a church. Like, it was considered gang related. Some people got shot inside of a church. This is 2010 or 11. And yeah, they were found guilty. They got like 40-something years. But people get shot up in churches too, and you don't hear about it. People get attacked in churches, but some white guy does it. Everybody loses their mind. But that was a big thing that year. You know, Dylan Roof, that happened. The Michael Slager incident happened in South Carolina, and so did Dylan Roof, and they were like neighbors in the same jail. Now, I want to end with this, if I'm comfortable talking about it. I came out to my family in the best way ever. I want you to, if I'm sort of uncomfortable talking about this, but I sort of showed them who I was during a time we all got together. I got really drunk. I was really high that day, and I didn't care. And I believe that is what ruined the already deteriorating relationship I had with my dad. The already dead relationship that we had, it sort of ruined it even more. Now, our relationship is pretty dead at this point, but his side of the family and some of my mom's side of the family, they already know, like, who I am. Even though I don't think my mom talks about me to them, I don't live that life anymore. But they have the belief that I am still gay or whatever you want to call it, and I don't live that anymore. But everybody in my family pretty much knows. But I don't have any contact with them for them to know that I'm in the process of completely just trying to change like everything. But if I'm comfortable talking about this, I'll just try to get like a few minutes in. Basically, and around this time too, I began to obtain an eating disorder because I think it was some of the drugs. I wanted to be more thinner. I wanted to be more like, I was already tall. I'm already tall, but I wanted to be thinner because I wanted my face to look a certain way. I wanted my chin to look a certain way. I wanted to look like a anorexic model. I wasn't dressing. I was never wearing like women's clothing, but around this time, I'm beginning to wear clothing that is not very masculine clothing. I wore like women like boots that would attract attention from other men. I wore, and I don't care if you believe this or not, but because I suppressed this for so many years, but I wore clothing that was not the appropriate clothing for men. Like I wore really tight jeans. I had like boots on that were not for men at all. I had about 2 pairs of boots. Like if you know the singer Rick James, I had boots just like that. And I was trying to grow my hair longer. Like I do have some pictures of everything, but I just don't choose to show this to people because, like I said, I feel like some of the drugs I was doing made me a little more bolder. And I really came out that way to at least the father side of the family because they had their suspicions because I never brought home girls. I never talked about girls. I even said it when I was 15 that I wasn't attracted to women. And and a lot of it too was I just didn't like a lot of men that are gay deal with this. They just don't like someone else getting more attention than them. That's something else I suffered with. I didn't like the idea of like I pursued people, of course, but I was intoxicated off of people pursuing me. I didn't like how vain, and I don't have nothing against women, but I didn't like how vain a lot of women were, or just it's hard to really understand someone else that doesn't have the same brain or organs as you do. So it's like you sort of like if it was a female I wanted to pursue, I would at the time I would prefer them to be like me because I could sort of put beside the whole argument of I don't like vain people. I could put that aside for someone who was like me because I can understand people like me. But I just didn't like 2 things. I didn't like the idea of a man that I felt was worthy of someone's time and someone else deems you as unworthy. And in a way, I was trying to rebel against that. So that's where I feel like I sunk more into that life. I started growing out my hair more. I'm wearing clothing that doesn't that's not congruent with my assigned gender. It's like I dressed like that for like the ending of 2015. And my dad never really said nothing about it, but it did strain our relationship a lot. And I was glad the drugs stopped that year. The ending of 2015, the drugs completely stopped. The drinking stopped. The clothing it went into 2016, and I'll talk about that another time of how the effects of my drugs begin to affect my behavior some too. But but yeah, around that time, guys, I was doing some things I really shouldn't have. But I got really drunk at our family gathering. My dad was really furious with me, and it strained our relationship.